Welcome to PSV Revolution. I'm Matt and this is my top 5 PSVR games I managed to get a hands-on with at this year's EGX show. Number 5, The London Heist. London Heist is part of PlayStation VR Worlds, which is a total of 5 games on one disc. The demo I played was the getaway level, which is where you're riding a shotgun in a van using the move ones as your hands inside the game. I find that super immersive. This allows for some surprising things like being able to open the door to the van with one hand, leaning out and shooting behind you using the other hand, looking behind yourself. It's an exhilarating game, and whilst it's not massively difficult so far, it's a really great introduction to VR for newbies. The amount of things within the game that you can actually pick up and hold and move around is absolutely outstanding, and it really adds to the immersion. Number 4, Tethered. Tethered is a god game in the vein of some of the older PC titles such as Black and White. The major difference being that instead of being able to freely move the camera wherever you like, you can only view from fixed viewpoints around the map. This is actually quite well done because all you have to do to choose a new viewpoint is look around, choose the one that you want and press a button straight away. You do all of your selecting of peeps, buildings, resources and so on by moving your head around and by selecting using the buttons on the controller. For me, this felt totally natural, and it's a lot more accurate than some of the traditional console controls were. The main characters of the game, the peeps, are cute. Just look at this little guy and his sad little face. He hasn't been given anything to do, so if you leave him for too long, he'll end up just deciding to kill himself by jumping off the level. When they're happy and they've got work to do, they're all happy and lovely, smiley little characters, and I think it's a great little design. The worlds are very, very pretty looking as well, and there look to be more than enough levels and challenges to keep you coming back for a good while. Number 3, Windlands. Windlands is a platformer/exploration game where you traverse the world using grappling hooks. It's one of the best games I played for giving me a sense of scale within the PlayStation VR. The Titan you see on the screen here looks just like a big robot on the flat screen. However, inside the headset, it looked, well, titanic. The grappling mechanics had me hooked, pun very much intended, very quickly, and it's the most fun I've had just traversing a game world very quickly within the PlayStation VR. Seeing the game before I actually got to play it, I'll be honest, I really expected there to be some motion sickness. I didn't suffer from any whatsoever, and it made me think that actually a Spider-Man game for the PlayStation VR could really work, and it made me very excited for that idea of being a massive Spider-Man fan. So I spoke to the developer, and whilst they've done a lot to mitigate the controls for motion sickness, there's actually a lot that can be done inside the options. If you see on some of the screens and some of the captures that has been done, you'll notice that when you move the right analog stick, it moves in 45-degree increments rather than moving smoothly like we're used to in a first person. This can actually be changed in the options for those who have developed their so-called VR legs, so it will allow for different levels of immersion for people who are more used to the games. I think that's a very smart decision, and it really allows for a lot of customization once you feel more comfortable with the VR. Number 2, Battlezone. Battlezone is a procedurally generated futuristic tank combat game with a cooperative campaign that can support up to 4 players. Unfortunately, the co-op is only over online, there's no local co-op support at the moment, but it looks absolutely fantastic. The interior of the cockpit feels real. I wanted to reach out with my foot and press some of the pedals, and this kind of thing just sells the start of the game for you. Once you enter the battle zone itself, the game starts slowly teaching you the controls, enemy types, and your weapons, ramping up the speed and the difficulty well. It looks like the game is going to prove a really nice challenge, and the combination of co-op and the procedurally generated levels should really provide a high degree of replayability. Lastly, I was quite surprised at how nippy and manoeuvrable the tank itself was. There's lots of different classes in the full game allowing for different loadouts and different speeds of movement. There's some concern about VR having to make all movements slow in order to lower the chance of motion sickness, but both Battlezone and Windlands have proved that it's not going to be the case for every game, and I think that's really exciting. Number 1, Robinson: The Journey. Robinson is an exploration/puzzle game where you play as a young boy who has crash-landed on a planet populated by dinosaurs, with a robot companion for company. Now, your companion may well draw comparisons to Wheatley from Portal 2, and it's not just the character design that will give that impression. He's also funny and full of character, so it's really nice to see the little AI has been given some personality. But the most important thing is the planet and its inhabitants. I spent absolutely ages drinking it all in. There's huge dinosaurs, which just left me feeling like I was back at the cinema as an 8-year-old kid again. Right down to all of the little touches for like there's dragonflies and lizards scuttling around that just make the world feel like it's alive. Admittedly, other games have had this variety in wildlife before, but in VR it just feels like you could reach out and touch it, and that really adds to the whole immersion. Now, Robinson may not be the game I'll end up putting the most hours into when I get my VR headset, as the game will most likely have a lot less replayability than, say, Battlezone. But I do have a feeling that Robinson will be the game that I spend the most time reminiscing over, and the most time I spend thinking about. So there you have it. Those are my 5 favourite PlayStation VR games that I got to try. What games have you tried, and which ones have you enjoyed the most? For those of you who haven't tried it, which games are you most looking forward to? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you soon on PSV Revolution.